Explore the Bible in 1 year with us. Day 33, Genesis 33, Matthew 12, and Psalms 55, presented by Mount Vernon Wilderness House Gathering.
Genesis 33, Evangelical Heritage Version. Jacob looked up, and there was Esau coming with 400 men. Jacob divided the children into groups with Leah and Rachel, and with the two maids. He put the maids and their children in front, Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph at the end. He himself crossed over the stream ahead of the others and bowed to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. Esau ran to meet him, embraced him, hugged him around the neck, and kissed him. They both wept. Then Esau looked up and saw the women and children and asked, "Who are these people with you?" Jacob said, "The children whom God has graciously given your servant." Then the maids came forward with their children, and they bowed low. Leah and her children also came forward and bowed low after them. Joseph came forward with Rachel, and they bowed low. Esau said, "What did you mean by this whole camp that I met?" Jacob said, "To gain favor in the sight of my Lord." Esau said, "I have enough, my brother. Keep what is yours." Jacob said, "No, if I have now found favor in your sight, then please accept the gift from my hand, because when I saw your face, it was like seeing the face of God. Now that you have accepted me, please accept the gift that I brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, and because I have everything I need." He urged him, and he accepted it. Esau said, "Let us get going on our journey, and I will lead the way for you." Jacob said to him, "My Lord knows that the children are still young, and that my flocks and herds are nursing their young, and if the herdsmen drive them too hard for even one day, all the flocks will die. Please let my Lord go ahead of his servant, and I will follow slowly, at the right pace for the livestock and the right pace for the children, until I come to my Lord in Seir." Esau said, "Please let me leave some of my people with you." But he said, "Why? Just let me find favor in the sight of my Lord." So Esau set out that day on his way back to Seir. Jacob traveled to Succoth, built a house for himself, and made shelters for his livestock. That is why that place is called Succoth. When he returned from Padan Aram, Jacob came in peace to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, and he camped in front of the city. He bought the piece of land, where he pitched his tent from the descendants of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of silver. He erected an altar there and called it El Elohe Israel. Matthew 12, Evangelical Heritage Version. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick heads of grain and eat them. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, what your disciples are doing is unlawful on the Sabbath." But he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered God's house and ate the bread of the presence, which was lawful only for the priests to eat, not for him or his companions. Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple violate the Sabbath and yet are innocent? But I tell you that one greater than the temple is here. Yet if you had known what this means, 'I desire mercy and not sacrifice,' you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." Going on from there, he went into their synagogue. A man was there who had a withered hand. Looking for a way to accuse Jesus, they asked him, "Is it lawful to heal on Sabbath days?" He said to them, "Who among you, if you have one sheep that falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a man than a sheep? So it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." Then he told the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and it was restored, as healthy as the other one. But the Pharisees went out and plotted against him, considering how they might put him to death. Since Jesus was aware of this, he withdrew from that place. Large crowds followed him, and he healed them all. He ordered them not to tell others about him. This happened to fulfill what was spoken through Isaiah the prophet. "Here is my servant whom I have chosen, the one I love, in whom I am well pleased. I will put my spirit on him, and he will proclaim justice to the nations. He will not quarrel or cry out, and no one will hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, a smoldering wick he will not put out, until he leads justice to victory. And in his name the nations will hope. Then a demon-possessed man who was blind and unable to speak was brought to him. Jesus healed him so that he was able to speak and to see. All the people were amazed and said, "Can this be the son of David?" But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, "It is only by Beelzebul, the ruler of the demons, that this fellow drives out demons, knowing their thoughts." Jesus said to them, "Every kingdom divided against itself is destroyed, and every town or household divided against itself will not stand. If Satan drives out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then can his kingdom stand? Now, if I drive out demons by Beelzebul, by whom do your sons drive them out? Therefore they will be your judges. But if I drive out demons by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. Or how can someone enter a strong man's house and take his goods unless he first ties up the strong man? Only then can he plunder his house. Whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. Therefore I tell you, people will be forgiven every sin and blasphemy, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Whoever speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but whoever speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or in the one to come. Either make a tree good and its fruit will be good, or make a tree bad and its fruit will be bad. Indeed, a tree is known by its fruit. You offspring of vipers, how can you say anything good since you are evil? For what the mouth speaks flows from the heart. The good man brings good out of his good treasure, and the evil man brings evil out of his evil treasure. I tell you that on the day of judgment, people will give account of every careless word they have spoken. In fact, by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Then some of the experts in the law and Pharisees replied, "Teacher, we want to see a sign from you." But he answered them, "An evil and adulterous generation wishes for a sign, but no sign will be given it except the sign of Jonah the prophet. For just as Jonah was in the belly of the huge fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up in the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. But one even greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south will be raised up in the judgment with this generation and will condemn it, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. But one even greater than Solomon is here. When an unclean spirit has gone out of someone, it passes through dry places looking for rest, but it does not find it. Then it says, 'I will return to the home I came from.' And when it has returned, it finds the place empty, swept, and put in order. Then it takes along with it 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they enter in and live there. So the last condition of that person becomes worse than the first. That is how it will be for this evil generation too." Jesus' mother and brothers, while he was still speaking to the crowd, his mother and his brothers happened to be standing outside, wanting to talk to him. Someone said to him, "Look, your mother and your brothers are standing outside, wanting to talk to you." But he replied to the one who told him, "Who is my mother and who are my brothers?" He reached out his hand toward his disciples and said, "See, my mother and my brothers! For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother." Psalm 55, Evangelical Heritage Version. Turn your ear to my prayer, O God. Do not hide from my plea for mercy. Pay attention to me and answer me. I am troubled in my thoughts, and I groan because of talk from the enemy, because of oppression from the wicked, because they dump evil on me, and in anger they hold a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death fall on me. Fear and trembling come over me. Horror covers me. So I say, I wish I had wings like a dove. I would fly away and find a place to rest. Yes, I would flee far away. Interlude, I would stay in the wilderness. I would hurry to find shelter, far from the violent wind, far from the storm. Swallow them up, O Lord. Confuse their speech, for I see violence and contention in the city. Day and night they sneak around on its walls. Evil and trouble are in the city. Destruction lurks within it. Treachery and deceit never leave its streets. For it is not an enemy who insults me. I could bear that. It is not someone who hated me who rises up against me. I could hide from him. But it is you, a man who served with me, my colleague and my associate, with whom I shared pleasant discussions as we walked with the excited crowd at God's house. Let deadly destruction come on them. Let them go down to the grave alive, because evil is at home in their hearts. As for me, I call to God, and the Lord saves me evening, morning, and noon I cry out, and I sigh, and he hears my voice. In peace, he redeems my life from the assault against me, even when many are against me. God will hear, and he will punish them. Interlude, yes, he is seated on his throne from eternity, because they never change, and they do not fear God. The traitor reaches out his hand against those at peace with him. He breaks his agreement. His flattery is as smooth as butter, yet war is in his heart. His words are more soothing than oil, yet they are drawn daggers. Place your burden on the Lord, and he will support you. He will never allow the righteous to fall. But you, O God, will bring them down into the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men will not live half their days. But as for me, I will trust in you.